In this practice, we'll be working on the hips with an emphasis on hip mobility. Unlike a lot of practices, we'll be starting at the floor, then come to sitting pose, then work up to standing. The sequence is completely opposite of what we usually do, which is standing, seated, and supine. You won't need any props for this practice, and we'll begin by lying down. With your right leg lifted, engage, spread your toes. Draw the right foot off to the right side. If you take your hands to the hip points, notice how the left hip point lifts into the palm of your left hand. See if you can keep the hip points parallel. Keep a nice action with the leg. Without the strap, without the use of your arms, you're engaging, you're strengthening the right leg. You're strengthening the muscles that support the hip joint. See if you can hold just a little bit longer. And when it's time to come out of the pose, lift your right leg up. Draw your right foot just to the left, just slightly. Then allow the right hip point to lift higher than the left. You can spread your wings, take your arms out. You got this nice openness to the chest. Keep your left leg active. Inhale, lift your right foot up. Release the right foot down. I don't like to go all the way to the floor with the leg in Supta padangustasana. If we engage the leg more to protect the mobility of the hip joint, that allows us to isolate the engagement of the muscles that support hip mobility. Take your left leg up, engage fully. You can take your hands to the hip points, spread your toes, keep your right leg engaged. With the hip points roughly parallel, take your left foot over to the left side. You might notice less strength on this side. The right hip point might be popping into the right hand. See if you can engage even more fully, maybe lifting the leg up slightly so that you can keep the hip points parallel. Keep on working the movement. Inhale, lift the leg up. Cross over the midline with the left foot. Now let the left hip lift higher than the right. You can take your arms out to the side. Keep a nice steadiness in the action. If you're going deeper in this twist, just go very slowly. Support the movement of your leg. Inhale, lift the leg up. Exhale, take the left leg down. Just notice how it feels after the engagement. Come to sit. Sit in a pinwheel pose where you've got a 90-degree angle, right leg and left leg, or close to a 90-degree angle. See if you can get the left knee to press more. As you press the left knee more, you might need a little padding, but imagine that you're trying to lift your left foot up away from the mat. You can draw yourself down toward the right leg. Keep a nice engagement on the baby toe side of the right leg and the left knee. Inhale, rise up. Come to the opposite side. Create roughly the 90-degree angle. Keep the right knee pressing down and imagine that you could just lift your right foot up to engage the inner thigh muscles, the adductors. Keep that movement. Bow down. Inhale, rise up. Lift your knees up. Come to the opposite side. You might notice that you're moving in these actions. So if you're moving completely off the mat, you can scoot back. But with the back knee pressing down for that engagement, can you teach the back foot to lift up slightly? Keep that. Bow down. Inhale, rise up. The more I was bowing down, the more my back foot lifted up. Come back to the center position. I'm scooting off the mat, so I'll come back. Come back to that 90-90 seated position, this pinwheel pose. Press down through the back leg. Draw down through the front leg. See if you can lift your back heel up as you do. Keep that engagement. Inhale, rise up. Now let's come to a standing position. So now that we've warmed up the hips a bit, maybe malasana or squat pose will be much more accessible to you. If you can come to a full squat, great. If not, just come down as far as it's comfortable for you. We'll be using a squat in the Sun Salute. Just a slight variation to keep the nice opening of the hips that we've been working on. Starting with your feet as wide as the mat. Some of you may not need to go that wide, but it will facilitate a more accessible squat. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, bend your knees to come down toward a squat position, maybe all the way. Inhale, straighten your legs and bow forward. Step your right foot back, your left foot back. Come to a nice downward facing dog. Walk your feet up to your hands. With the hands to your hips. Rise up, reach back. Exhale, come to the squat. You may want to have the feet wide. Draw your hands down in a forward fold. Step back to downward facing dog. Walk your feet to your hands. Place your hands to your low back. Rise up. reach up and back. Exhale, come to the squat. Lift your pelvis up. Step back to downward facing dog. Look forward. Step your way to your hands. Hands to the hips. Rise up. Now that you've worked the hips nicely in squats, come to a wide stance. Bend your knees. Some of us like our toes turned out. It makes a squat more accessible. Make your way to a full squat. Come all the way down, and one more time in that 90-degree angle of the right front leg, the left, with your hands to your heart, bow forward, maybe even lift up the back foot as you press the knee down. Inhale, rise up, lift up, same thing, press the back knee down, bow forward, lift the back foot up, keep pressing the back knee down, rise up. From this 90-90 position, take your left leg up and over and come to Gomukasana. So if you find that it's a little hard to train your feet to come close to your pelvis, you can lift yourself up, scoot the leg in to train the legs to, in their own action, pull in nicely. Draw forward. With the left leg on top, wrap the right arm under, pull the knee up with the arm. Now press back with the left knee to push it down. And rise up. Come back to that pinwheel position with the left knee forward, right knee back. Do the same movement with the right leg, lifting up and over the left to find that form of Gomukasana. You might have to lift up in order to train the legs to hug in as you draw forward. With the right leg on top, cradle the leg with your left arm. Lift it up, push the right knee against the left arm. Release. These are some nice hip openers before you go deeper in your practice, or simply to ensure nice hip mobility, more freedom in your movements. Namaste.